I'm Coach Mikki, and I'm so glad that you've joined us. And if this is your first time joining us, come on in and make yourself comfortable. And for those of you that join us on a regular basis, we're so glad that you do. And if this is your first time, welcome. Get comfortable, grab your favorite drink, cross your legs, undo your sweater. Be comfortable. Be comfortable. This is why we're here, is to make you feel at home and loved, and also to bring you insight and value and some things that maybe need to touch your life, or maybe you need a new direction. But I am so glad that you're here, and I am grateful for all of you that always reach out to many of my guests. And I am really excited to, you guys know I'm always excited with these guests, but I'm extremely excited because part one you just heard with Chef Katrina, with Katrina, aka Chef Katrina. And we are now going into part two because so many of you brought in so many questions and had so many things that you wanted to know. And I was really excited, and she was available to come back. So welcome, 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 Katrina with the Truth Bomb and Create Her and your new book. So I am excited to have you here back with us again to help all these people that had all these questions and want to know some more about what you have to offer.
Well, Coach Mikki, I love you. I love everything you're about. I know we're having, you guys really need to be in the pre-conversation. I think I'm going to start working my podcast like we're in a pre-conversation before, because I feel like so much juicy information gets dumped into that. So I am an absolute pleasure to come back. Thank you for the invite. I know your audience had some questions around what we talked about around the planning around your female cycle and some things like that. You said, hey, there was some questions. So I'm like, oh, this is the perfect time to answer. So, what do you got for me?
So you had talked about how on a woman's cycle that there's times where she's more brilliant, or her mindset is going through, is attached to what that time frame, of the month. And then there was a lot of people that asked, well, what about if you are postmenopausal and you're not experiencing a cycle anymore? That was probably my number one question that a lot of people asked. How do you figure that out and know when your brilliance is going to occur that month?
That is a great question. And I get this from women that are perimenopausal, postmenopausal, surgical menopausal, women that are having issues with even tracking their cycle. They have other female health issues, endometriosis, things like that. So your guys, you ladies are asking a great question, honestly. And to be honest, the research is still relatively new in all of this. I think as women, we're experiencing it newly for the first time. And I don't mean that in a bad way. What I'm saying is that we're actually having conversations around it. We're leveraging the world of social media to have like conversations around what we're dealing with as women. And at the same time, I think Coach Mikki, you and I talked about on our previous one, the medical research around women, the ability to diagnose. And I found a strange statistics that the women between ages 25 and 35 are the most misdiagnosed in what we are experiencing, because we don't have the language to describe what our bodies are going through. And sometimes they're just throwing a band-aid on a gushing wound and they don't know what it is. So when you're asking like what's the best way to track this, I actually brought this back to my community because I do have women in the community that are in those phases of life that are surgical menopausal. They've had mastectomies. They have no period whatsoever. So like, how do I follow this? And I said, well, what are some of the ways women throughout history have been able to track this? And what was shocked me, and had me dive into it, honestly, Mikki, was the moon cycle. I work with a lady that's from Trinidad, and she goes, my mother always said that one of the most natural ways for women, whether they were in their cycle or not, was to use the moon. And so I was like, what the heck does that mean? Because I'm serious. Like, you guys have taught me so much. This is definitely not me expert, like, and know it all. What I'm discovering as I continue to work with women is that we're teaching each other. Okay. We're learning and we're evaluating, because I still have my infradian rhythm. I'm still going through my monthly flow. So some of the moon energy, this is what's really interesting, and I'll kind of share this. So we actually created inside of our planner a section, two sections. So we have a lunar calendar that goes through the whole year, tells you all the four phases of the moon to be aware of. And then it talks about like new moon energy. So this is fresh starts, new beginnings, Visualization, write down your monthly intentions. And it is like the language is being used differently. When you work through the quarter moon, take action, make decisions. So, like each phase of the moon actually correlates to a different type of energy. And so, what the women are doing is they're testing it. They're saying, okay, in this planner, because first off, you need a tool that can help you track. And traditional 24-hour day planners aren't designed to help a woman track her cycle, Mikki. So, inside of this, as you go through the monthly, as we have in here, we actually note your different moons and when they happen. So now part of this is we have you track your energy. We have you start aligning your tasks. There's a section in here that actually says during these types of phases of the moon cycle, these are the tasks that during this energy should be something you can take a look at. These are the money things you can be taking a look at. So if you're looking at investing, if you're looking at building your finances, there's different energy that you use throughout your month also. Like I said, total transparency. We are learning this as a collective. So this is feedback from the women as they're implementing it. And so it is really it's coming together with around this tool as a collective and saying, okay, I did this worked. I tried this, that didn't work, or this felt a little different. But what I'm also noticing with women, which is throwing a whole another look into this, right, Coach Mickey, is that we are also tied closely to nature, so seasons affect us. Spring, summer, winter, fall, and I'm like, okay. I typically find myself way more productive in the fall time. Like I feel like I'm definitely like planting seeds during the summer and then the fall comes and I'm like ready to just be really intentional with my time. But that's my cycle. That's what I've started to notice as I continue to use the planner because for the first time I'm tracking my cycle. I know I'm 28 days apart. I like never knew that in my entire life, right? So now I'm tracking it. I've got people that are teaching me the moon cycles. Did you know there's actually there's a whole sub organization of women, like a whole culture of women that do moon dancing.
No, I no, I did not. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's a group of women and they meet stateside. So there's like four different states that host ways for women to come together as a collective and they dance under the moon, like the full moon at night. And they do like just embodiment. So it's a lot of movement, it's a lot of singing, it's a lot of sisterhood. This still exists. They're not putting this on the web, by the way. It is all a word of mouth type of experience. So this tells me that I'm in the right direction. And for us women, we just haven't had the tool to help us guide us through this understanding of what our bodies are doing. And for the other women that are out there who think, yeah, I don't know, I think we mentioned this, but and one of the girls and most of the women that I started talking to around this, they're watching their daughters. So those that are before age 12, they're actually seeing them cycle already. Like they're in Fradian rhythm, that 28-day cycle of energy, because they're homeschooling, they're watching, they're more aware, and they're starting to see this even before they start their menstrual cycle, right? That infradian rhythm. So for me, there's this hypothesis that if we're experiencing this as kids, we experience it in our menstrual. So I feel like there's this infradian rhythm phase, there's the pre and the post. That's where I'm really leaning into because I feel like it still exists. It's just going to show up differently in your life. And so the learning how to communicate that, the wisdom that's being shared and the conversations we're having is what's led to the planner and giving us a tool to really track, especially for women in business, track your activities, track your marketing, track your cash flow, track your health, track your engagement with your family, really become an aware of what your projects you're taking up your time or what projects you're putting first and foremost and how they're manifesting. Because what I've also discovered, shockingly, is that women are doing more in less time because they're really intentional around their energy periods. Courses are getting built out, books are getting written, things are getting done shorter period of time because they know this is the time in which to do it. So I think for the question is it's awareness. And unless we're actually teaching ourselves and in community and have a tool that highlights that, then we begin to strengthen it. That was a lot of information, I know. There was just everything going on there.
No, which is good because these are a lot of the questions that were asked. So I wanted to that you had said something in regards to the seasons. And one of the things that was brought to my attention was some people had said, "Hey, I noticed that someone said I seem to get more things done in the winter." And other people say, "No, I'm a summer, I get more things done during the summer because they like the heat." And there's that correlation. So that next question was, so would the moon stages, let me look, would the stages still affect even during the seasons I feel off?
Yeah, and that's, I think you're off. If you're feeling off, that is an awareness for you, right? And I think as I talk with each woman, so like I'm working with she's in her 30s, she's a mother of two young boys. The youngest is still under a year old. She's like, I'm building my business, but I want to be there as a mom, and traditional businesses take off, right? She's like, but I need to slow down. Like I recognize I need to slow down, but I need somebody that's actually slowing me down. And the only person that can slow another woman down is another woman when we're having this conversation, right? It's like, crap, girl, like we should just sit here and eat like a candy bar or veg out, right? Like the permission to an understanding of what we're experiencing, because a guy can't teach it to us, right? So, I think there is a truth there in your question. I think seasons do affect us differently as women. That's what makes us unique. That's what makes us sisters. Because Coach Mikki might be in one season and during this time period, she's super productive doing something else. But I think in for a lot of ways, those are the people you want to collaborate with. Those are the people you want to find in your different niches and industry and say, like, I need my sisters that are like this during this time phase. And what would it look like if you were surrounded by people that at different times elevated each other and could support each other when it wasn't our time, right? Like this is our time to rise. Let's support you and have that conversation. So yeah, I think seasons absolutely do play. I'm starting to again as I track to be totally transparent. The planner, the first one, 2025, came out last year. Was the first time I've ever designed a planner. I did it in 30 days.
That's pretty good.
And
That's
right.
pretty good. You must have been
So
in your good cycle.
knowing when my energy cycle was, right? I contacted a lady on Fiverr. I said, this is what I want to design as my planner. I literally etched things on paper. Ladies, you think I'm crazy, but I am notorious. So, like, even this year's planner, I was like, I want something like this on the planner. Like, I literally give her a sheet that has lines on it,
I love
right?
it. I love it.
And so, when you get a good designer, she can take that, craziness and be like, "Oh, you want that?" And I'm like, "Yes, I didn't know how to get that to here, right? I don't know how to put on a computer. I don't know how to design that." So, I think when we started this last year, there was some really good things that we put into place, and then we got feedback from women. And so we shifted a couple things in the planner. We actually created more white space, Coach Mickey. And so what that does for women is that it doesn't feel so task oriented. It now creates some space to draw, to color, to think about what you're doing, right? So we designed the planner to be wrapped around like an inner circle conversation. So the inner circle meets 3 times a month and they're in a community. And so we plan together, we hold each other accountable, ask questions, and then we celebrate together. So when we plan, so like for January, we'll plan the month of January, going over what are our objection or what are our projects we're working on, what kind of money do we want to make, what's our marketing, what's our overall cycle. And then the very next page, which is something that was different this year, they asked for a blank page to like write out and think through like what they're actually going to do. Then they asked for what were some of the moon cycles, what were your energy during each one of these moon cycles or your infradian rhythm? What are your business tasks that you might consider energy wise? And then the last one is what are your money tasks? So, how does money flow in and out throughout your day? And then the other part we added was a mandala, because what we found is that when women color and they're listening to a specific type of music as they're planning, the brain relaxes. You're able to get into that creativity mode. You feel less stress. And that 5 minutes of just being present in what you're doing gives you the space to really create your month. So those were some of the things that got designed in here. And there's other little nuances that got added, but I thought that was really interesting feedback from women as they wanted more like space because everything feels like a task.
That's great. It's almost like having your own personal journal slash planner and way to be able to
Tracker.
laser focus. I mean, that is really brilliant. It really is because it has everything in it that you need to see where you're going. Because for me, I'm always drawing or doodling or something. If I get stuck somewhere and I'm like, okay, wait, that didn't sound good. I need to regroup for a second. So having that already right in front of you is helpful because it has the information that you're trying to do and you've got that escape right there. I love it.
Hmm.
I love this book. Now this is your 2026 planner, right? The one that you just showed us. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It
Yeah. And
just
this
came
is
in hot off the press yesterday, so I
oh
just have
yay. We're the first ones to see it.
you guys are the very first ever to see the planner in life. Like I was like popped open the plastic last night and I was like, okay, I really want to just dive into this because I loved how it teaches me, to be honest. And I think that as a female, I'm learning, Mikki, you're learning, every single woman in the community as we get into this insider group, as we learn how to design life around us, it becomes really a fascinating world that we live in.
It does. And I think as women, we put ourselves last or we put everybody else first. My sister said something to me, and this was quite a few years ago, and it stuck with me. And she said to me, she goes, Mick, when's the last time you put yourself first? And I couldn't answer that because I couldn't remember. Because like you said, it's family, it's business, it's, something else is coming up. It's, somebody needs something. And I'm like, she's right. I don't. And I think as women, we don't do that. We think we're being selfish, or we think that
Mm-hmm.
we're not supposed to, or we're waiting for things to calm down until everybody's taken care of. And it goes back to that original thing that they say in the plane when you fly, put your oxygen mask on first and then you can take care of everybody else. But we don't remember that in our own lives.
Yeah.
So having something like what you've created, which is a calendar where our strengths are each and every month, and then knowing where we are emotionally and where we are to be able to thrive, gives us that opportunity to plan. I mean, you and I tried planning a podcast around you said I gotta wait till I'm on, and I'm like but I noticed that I have this um all the time out in the field. I'll have days where I'm like, I got this. I'm just
Hmm.
I know it, I've got everything. I can just and then there's other times I'm standing there like, I hope these guys got this because I am really off today. And I hope they don't ask me anything I really need to know. I mean, I can pull it up, but it would take me a minute. Um,
Yeah.
and you're
But
so right. You are so right. We go through these rhythm and that connection and having that sisterhood, to have people to connect with that say, I get it, I understand,
mhm.
I value what you're feeling at the moment to be able to thrive.
Yeah. And I think into pointing into like what you're saying too, because it happens to me like will say that ever since I started tracking, I'm definitely more sensitive to nature around me, like seasons, things that are going on in the universe that I never thought I'd have like this conversation around. But what's interesting in what you said, sometimes there's times when your brain is just not functioning at its highest capacity. It's downshifting to rest, right? So there's a sense of as I talk with women, they're better at communicating to their spouse, their partners, their friends, what they're actually experiencing with no shame and blame. They're not afraid that this is what they're experiencing, right? Because we've been told like, oh, you shouldn't be experiencing that. Oh, you're just being emotional. And we've had so much kind of, stop crying, stop doing this. Once you kind of understand what you're going through, you find that you can communicate, like even to your coaching team, right? You're like, hey guys, like my brain's mush. Like if the kids come up and ask questions, I need you guys be my brain for me today, right? I have that with a client. So typically I don't take her on during her menstrual phase, but she's like, we're heading into the holidays. I'm not talking to you next week. Can we do this? And I said, great. So we sat, so I'm in my follicular ovulatory phase. So I'm high communication, high thinking. She is like downshifting into like rest, right? So she brought me her slide deck, what she's writing for her business, and I was like, I'm able to be her higher level of thinking and she just gets to absorb and listen. And then I said, so in the next 3 to 5 days, come back to what I just said in the notes you took and see what gets triggered for you because you're then going to be in that place to really look at this and have a sense of what you're delivering. So I think that's the balance when you can communicate that as a coach for me, I'm able to coach women because I'm not pushing. I'm letting them just receive, right?
Mhm.
And then I know when to push. When you're talking with kids and other women, you get a sense that we're ebbing and flowing together. And I think it's been really interesting because as my clients are talking to their spouses, they're like, I need these 2 days off. Like, I'm gonna need you to step up and taking care of the kids, making sure dinner's on the table. These are just 2 days during this time that I'm just gonna be, let's just say, not my best. And I might be a little more moody. But because they're aware of it and they're communicating it, there's this way to build in this vulnerability that's shifting the dynamics of that relationship. So I think innately as women, we start to understand ourselves. We're better at communicating it. Because I'll tell you this, if a guy sat there and said, well, this is what you're experiencing, I'd be like, right? Like a big X would go up and be like, like you cannot tell me what's going, like you have no idea what I'm doing over here, right? So I think it's just I think there's this sense of I'm actually so we teach you to like block your days off, block your calendar, understand those are going to be your softer days. It's okay to be softer, kind of a thing.
I love that because it gives you an opportunity, like you said, to plan. Because I've had times where I'll say yes to something because I'm feeling very strong and on, and then that day comes along and I'm like, oh my gosh, why did I say yes? Because I'm not ready. I'm just not prepared, or I am, but I'm just not at my full capacity.
Mm,
And I think everybody, has that, but to be able to acknowledge it and see it on paper and go, okay, I know during this time frame I'm going to be on. I'm good to go. And since our last conversation, when we had our after conversation from the last podcast, and I asked you about that question about those that are maybe not experiencing their cycle, I started watching the different moon phases for myself, and I found, for me personally, I mean, and I want to get your book to do so I can start journaling this, but I found for me personally that the waning crescent moon is my strongest days. I'm
mm.
on. I am on. And I found the full moon. I just want to kick back. I'm relaxed. But see, I'm also in my season because I thrive. I would say anywhere from October all the way to February, March are like very strong months for me. And I also noticed too, and I don't, again, it could be the combination of both, but I find that I take everything, and by the time I hit my February, March, I've got everything in line and doing what I need so strongly that the rest of those months I'm not stressing out over the fact that I'm not going to be prepared or I'm not quite there yet. And
Yeah.
again, I'm sharing this with you because is this pretty much along the lines of what you're teaching other people to understand and based on what you and I've talked about?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Coach Mikki, this is, I am by no means, and nobody's an expert yet. Trust me, if you are coming across a woman that says she's an expert in all of this, unless you are ancestrally like passed down this knowledge, this wisdom from great grandmother to grandmother to you to your child, this is almost like a lost history. And remember too, throughout most of our history, women haven't been able to document or write down anything we've experienced. So, in some respects, we're the first time as a society able to document and write down and track and leave historical medical information about what it is to be a woman. So, yeah, it's really interesting. Each woman is different. There's, I think, a lot of misconceptions out there around what we experience as women. I think there's a lot of information that's harming us that's being told to us as truth. And, this is all things that we dive into on the inner circle because we need just a safe community of where we can chat, where we can find out, and where we can source each other and then recommend resources, do the deeper dive. Because here's the reality. If since 1944 in the United States, since the 1940s, women got a job, were in the workforce, then were pulled out of the workforce, then, got the ability to have the pill in 1961, which there's some real controversial information around the taking of a pill nowadays. 50 some odd years later, 60 years later, we're starting to see the effects of that, and what it's done to women. And it hasn't been pleasant for us, unfortunately. Um, it's this information is now coming out because it's taken a generation for this information to be brought to us. The other reasons why we focus in a lot on the finances is because I don't know if you ladies remember, but it was only back in 1978 that women could open up a bank account without her husband's signature or without her husband in period, like, or special provisions. So that's less than 50 years ago. So I think to be honest, there's a lot left to explore. I'm excited about the planner. I think it's a stepping stone in the right direction. Is it the end all be all? You know, that would be an ego talking, and I'm more of the collaborative. All I can say is I expect it to expand and to grow, and for women to be a constant source of feedback. I'm always open to feedback with this planner. This has been gifted to me to gift to the world. That's how I look at it.
Yeah, I love it though. I do, and I think it's well needed because you said there's a lot of things out there, especially with the girls that are coming up now. And I'm talking about the ones that are now starting to experience, all these changes in their life and moving forward and then going, what's going on? What's going on? And like you
Yeah.
said, being told, oh, it's just this, or or yeah, and you're blown off. I can't tell you how many stories or people I have heard, and they were all women where they've been patted on the top of their head and they go, oh, you're fine, you're good.
Oh,
And it's like, no, you just don't understand. You're not getting so having the ability to not only see something that you can identify for yourself and open up and go, look, this is where I am and this is how I feel, this is what's going on. And then to see that tract of how it works and see the rhythm, like you said, and then saying, okay, I know each and every time frame during this is where my strengths and where I'll be.
yeah,
But then to have that knowledge for yourself gives you more strength and empowerment to go, I can make these choices based on this. And it's almost like having inside information on
yeah.
yourself, and I'm really
And
excited for you. That's awesome.
yeah. And the thing is that we do is like we do the create her celebration. And this is where you do track week by week. What is your energy level? What's your overall energy level? And do you see season by season something shift? Like the only person, and the honestly, I will tell you the one of the reasons I do the planner, Coach Mickey, is because this is talking about being a woman and it's talking about it's actually HIPAA protected in kind of the medical world of this. I am not enticed to do an app because I don't want us to be weaponized against us. I don't want it to be used as a marketing ploy or tool. And I think the first person that needs to be aware of her cycle is you, and then the people around you. And then if you want to open it up and give it to the marketing world, that's fine. But I think there's the sense of your privacy, you knowing who you are at its core. That is your information. And all I ask is that, we source each other and we share the experiences and see where there's overlaying similarities and let that be our guide.
No, I think that's really smart. Again, and what you know about yourself, again, is the most important tool you can have. It is. It's really not anybody else's business. I mean, it's no different than really getting to understand why you do things or how things occur, what's happening, within you. I mean, we don't go out and make it public knowledge. Hey, by the way, I'm on my cycle today. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? I'm
we
doing
don't. But unless sometimes you're walking around in a white skirt and all of a sudden you're bleeding, you're like, oh hell, right? It's like it's happened more times than I care to admit. I think you mentioned it on episode or on part one of this, right? You're like, I was on the sideline, it
it.
happened, right? Like,
Yeah,
how many of us go out and are like, oh hell?
yeah.
There's the sense though that there's a lot of shame and blame because it's unnatural. We've been told it's unnatural to bleed because guys don't, so it must be unnatural. And they're like, oh, it's more natural than I can tell you. But I think as women, we can laugh about it, we can support each other. You know, I think it just gives us grace to really say, hey, you know what? We're breaking glass ceilings. We're in new industries. We're becoming CEOs. We're becoming extraordinary leaders. We have these tools with us. Let's celebrate this uniqueness just as much as the men have done it. It's time for us women to discover it, learn it, and share this wisdom.
Okay, so how can people find your book?
Simple. It's actually the createherplanner.com. So create her, ladies, as you see, it's CreateHer. So create her. You are the creator of your life. I hope you know this. You create like every single month, at least, cycle through this. Whether you have your cycle or not, you are a creator. So creatorplanner.com is the simplest and easiest way to get hold of it. Um, we are hosting the Create Her Dream Journey where we actually walk you through the first part of this planner to create your intentions for 2026. And then we support you through the inner circle, which is the $47 a month, minimal investment, meeting, having the group, collaboration 3 times a month, planning, celebration, accountability. You get to ask questions, get to meet other women that are using this, high achieving women, women in business, women from all walks of life. And I think that's what makes it unique is you're going to hear different ways women are using this.
And the link will be down below. If you're watching the video, it's down below. And if you're listening to the podcast, just go ahead and click on Katrina's name, and that'll drive you right to her website where you can actually get the planner. I'm really excited about this. I think this is a great way to kick off the new year, and it gives people an opportunity to say, okay, this is what I need to do. This is how I need to understand stuff. And I'm really excited. I'm the first person to see this, that this was hot off the press. What about timing? Oh my gosh, Katrina, I'm so
See, I
excited.
told you everything happens for a reason. Like, the part two of this whole thing happened just because, like, I needed the planner in my hand. I was like, well, Chef Mickey's group's gonna see the very first. Oh, and the other piece behind this, the reason she's on fire is if you're following along with the elements and the horoscopes, we're stepping into fire as our element for 2026. So there is a strength behind that. It is both the blue sky, the green earth, grounded. So it's very grounded planner. So when you hold it, the idea is to get really grounded into yourself as you step into 2026.
I love it. I love it. Well, I would like to have you back because I'd like to have some more insight. And like you said, it's always evolving, and you've got a lot of people, offering information. And I think a lot of it you're going to now. Do you find, I guess, that there is a lot of similarities? I mean, so you could actually say, okay, during this time frame, based on what everybody else has experienced or what they're doing, that this really does is that timeline is pretty solid. So let's say that there's like for me, I said I seem to find my strength in the waning
Yeah, the
crescent
crescent
moon.
waning
Yeah,
moon.
yeah.
Yep.
So it's like I'm trying to keep track of that. So every month it's like, do I really still feel that way? So you're and then same thing with the full moon based on what's happening or how I'm feeling. So
Yep.
when you're journaling this in your book and in your Create Her journal, we'll give you the opportunity to go back from past months and see the similarities of that rhythm, so you could actually kind of identify that time frame.
Yeah, it's an awareness. It's literally an awareness tracker. So you're going to start because even each day I have like little batteries at the bottom of your day. So you can kind of fill those in. Like the whole point is also to kind of create this a coloring book. I want more color in a woman's life. But you color that in. It's like, did I start my day off strong? Did I feel a little like slower today? And then you bring all those batteries of the week and you bring it up to the full week and you say, okay, this overall week, it felt kind of like this, right? You're creating your awareness. But when you can look back, I can look back. So to be honest, let's take a look real quick, right? 2025. This was my planner from last year, right? going back through, this is probably the most used planner I've ever because I was curious. I think the curiosity of understanding my rhythm and flow, right? So just going through and saying, okay, oh, I am 20. Like the first thing was that I was just putting in the days I thought my cycle was, but I wasn't counting the days. And then I was like, well, what does a 20, like, what am I actually experiencing? I'm like, oh, this is some good, like, and I start following my energy. And the one interesting thing is I talk with more women, the more you become aware, the more heightened that awareness during those different parts of your month start to take hold. Like you're naturally drawn to your energy cycle around the waning crescent moon. So for you, you'll actually continue to increase that awareness, like you'll expand it and do more and more in that time period because you feel that energy and you're in touch with yourself and that experience and that time frame. And you're like, this is what I'm doing here. This is where I feel like I need a reset. You get to get really experience it and develop it.
Yeah, I mean, I love it. I really do. And like I said, it made me more aware. And I again, it was one of those just from our last conversation. And I was like, I really just want to see how this works. And I did notice that. And it was like I said, I'm excited to put it down in the journal too, so I can see it, more and more.
Yeah.
So what have you got going on in 2026? Like if people want to, you mentioned that you have an opportunity so people can be part of a group, they can get your book, your journal. So, what else have you got going on if somebody wants to attend or be part of or
Ooh.
connect with you?
Yeah, so the creator planner is like the starting point of your awareness. And then what I love working with is helping women actually incorporate that into their business growth strategy. So how do you build your team, grow your business, take a look at your financial, your money, all of that. So we do have the Create Her Rewire. You'll see a theme here. Create Her plays with everything. So Create Her Rewire is our 3 to 5 month because we give women breaks to actually implement. So it's not like always on demand kind of a thing. It's one-on-one coaching, it's group coaching, it's support system, right? Around how business gets designed as a woman. Shocking. The other thing that's happening in 2026 that I'm super excited about, we're creating the Creator Reset weekends. So these are experiences around the world. So our first one that we're doing, so we did one this year in 2025. It went over so well that we decided that we were going international in 2026. And we're doing our first one in El Salvador. It's an all-inclusive Create Her Reset. And it's a time for women to come together. It's an intimate group of 12. Yes, we still have seats available at the time of this one because you guys are getting in really early because Coach Mikki is awesome. Um, she's just timing was perfect with her. But these resets are for us women that are highly accomplished to come together, slow down, breathe, create sacred moments as a woman, and then really have that time to think and play and laugh with other women and really like level up together. So those are the two big things is definitely the planner, the coaching with the rewire, and these events that just anchor the planner, anchor the business building, like you said, taking time to rest and intentionally creating that. And I think that's one of my big pushes as we design and continue moving forward in 2026 and into 2027. We're already thinking 2027, crazy as that is. But really creating more rest time for women. So I'm excited about it all. I think it's just going to be phenomenal.
Well, you've got such great energy. I mean, you really do. And I love I wish we lived closer because I would love to hang with you on a more regular basis. But, we met each other. Oh my gosh, what was it like a year ago? Was your event a year
Shockingly, it was
ago?
March of this year. We
Oh
met back
my.
in February, March of this year when I had you on the Create Her or the Breakthrough Business Growth Summit. So I brought on Coach Mikki for my audience listening. I brought her on to talk about the glass ceiling that she has gone through and broken through for all of us as a female coach in a very male dominant sport. So I brought you on. We chatted back, and it was back in March of this year. It might seem so long ago because we've developed such a great friendship.
Like
But
it
yeah.
feels like I've known you my whole life. It does. But see, this tells you, for those that are listening, this tells you the type of energy that Katrina brings to the table.
Mm.
She's an extraordinary person. I mean, she really is. You really are. I love the fact because I just ran something past you before we even started this podcast. And in my head, I'm thinking, well, I've known you for years. I didn't even realize it's been since March. You know what I mean? But that tells you what kind of person you are. And I love not only having you as my guest, but I
Mm.
love the fact that we've connected in so many other ways, through our lives and through our life. And I'm really excited to do more with you in 2026. But for those of you that are listening, if you really are thinking you're like, I need something more, I've got to do something different. I really, really, truly encourage you to connect with Katrina and see what she's all about and get in her energy and know what she has to offer and be a part of her program because she's going to bring things to you that you are going to learn about yourself and you just have this way of making you feel good. I feel good when I'm around you. So I know I can't even imagine what's going to be like at one of your events and in person. We're just doing it through the airwaves and
I know. And I think you're right. It was last year because it was August of last year. Oh my gosh. It feels like not long ago. It was over a year ago that I feel like you're right. I feel like we've known each other way longer than that. Holy crap.
but you know what though, that tells me that what you do is so genuine and you
Mm,
mean everything you teach and you've got a heart and you're so giving and you're so generous and you're also very insightful, and I
mm,
like the fact that you're very transparent and you'll put things out on the table, and it may not be what you want to hear, but it's what you need to hear.
yeah.
And I really believe that we need that, and to come from somebody who genuinely is doing it from their heart and doing what's best for you is probably one of the greatest gifts you can give someone. So I am so excited for you, Katrina, and I'm really hoping that 2026 is an abundance of success. And I know you're going to change so many lives. I really do. I know this is going to be your year.
I'm excited. And then thank you so much for having me on your podcast. And I look forward to your growth and all the changes that are happening for you. And this friendship is amazing. We will continue to stay in touch. And who knows, I might be on the West Coast sooner rather than later. And we'll definitely have to get together and hang out.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for being with us. All right, you guys, I am really excited. Please, please click on the link below if you'd like to reach out to Katrina. Not only that, but also get her book. And then also, if you're on the podcast, just click on her name and her name will have the link attached to it so you can go right there. And I start your 2026 amazing. Start it extraordinary. I mean, if you're going to need to learn about yourself and you want this to be an incredible year, why not know where you stand emotionally each and every month? I know it's like insight for me. I'm excited. I'm really excited. So thank you for being with us again today, Katrina.
Absolutely, my pleasure. Thank you, everyone.
All right, you guys, remember the most courageous thing you can do is be yourself. I look forward to seeing you again and getting in touch with you. Please keep your comments, your questions, and your suggestions coming. Reach out to all of my guests, and I will look forward to seeing you on the next episode of Coach Mikki and Friends. Until then, see ya.